There we go. Good evening, everybody. My name's Adam Schellenbarger. I'm the president of the Joppa Development and Heritage Corporation. I wear some other hats too, but just want to welcome you all here to the 2026 Joppa Development and Heritage Corporation Primary Election Forum for the Republican side. We're going to have almost every candidate who is eligible in a competitive primary here tonight, although some had to pre-record, and we didn't hear from another person, so we'll see if he shows up or not. We'll get to that when we cover it. A couple things that are coming up, just so everybody is aware. We have the Democratic Primary Forum tomorrow night at 5:45. That one's starting just a little bit earlier, and the reason for that is because of the county council. There's a public hearing tomorrow that got scheduled earlier than the council meeting, so we had to bump things up a little bit. Also, you may not be aware of this, I wasn't until last week, but the Board of Education election works a little different than I thought. Even though it's a nonpartisan race, if there are more than 2 people running for a seat, the primary is what's used to whittle that election down to 2 people. So we're going to have a separate Board of Election primary forum. That's a nonpartisan forum. That's going to be on Monday, June 8th. In this building, same time, same as everything as tonight. So you're welcome to come out to that. That race will be between hopefully all three people from District A, and then separately all 3 from District B, and the race will essentially whittle those down to 2. And then at some point after the election, we get all of the results sorted and everything. We'll end up having the people from the different races come hopefully for a general election forum. In the past, what we've done is we've had Annapolis candidates come on one night, we've had Bel Air candidates come on another night, we might have a third night, who knows? We'll see how things go. I do want to thank all of the candidates who are here tonight or who will be coming tonight. We've made sure that people knew that people could come as they closer to their time, or come, stay, don't come at all. We only invited people who are in active competitive primaries for this forum. And that means that essentially if they don't win a primary, then they won't go to the general election. So we will also be introducing people throughout the night who are here and are going to be in the general election but don't have an active primary that they have to vie for. With that in mind, I'm going to go over a few rules and expectations as to what's going on. This is how everything's going to work tonight. Each candidate has been given, I guess I'll just read it. It's not a debate, rather an opportunity for candidates to lay out their plans to advance, to advance our community in each area of focus. It's bigger for the candidates than it is for me. In each area of focus highlighted by the questions that were provided in advance. Each candidate will be asked 3 questions and will be given 2.5 minutes to answer each. The candidates will also have an opportunity to talk for 2.5 minutes on a topic of their choice as the 4th question. That particular question, or the non-question, will not be, well, you'll see as we go through, but they have to talk about themselves and positive things about their own campaign. They cannot talk negatively about their opponents at that time. I do want to let all of the candidates know that even though we give you 2.5 minutes, you do not have to use all 2.5 minutes. You are welcome to cut short. At 30 seconds, I will give you a verbal warning that you are coming up close to your time, and at 2.5 minutes, I will cut you off. If you try to continue past the 2.5 minutes, I reserve the right to do anything that I want, including tackling you, or we will cut your microphone. You know, there's all kinds of options available to me. All right, first up tonight, we have our sheriff candidates. Unfortunately, Mr. Gahler was not able to make it tonight. He pre-recorded his information, so we have his responses. They will be playing on the screens and on the live stream. And it will be as if he's here, but we both acknowledge that he's not here, so that's why. Then after that, we will talk to the candidates for the president of the county council. After that, we will talk to at least 2 of the candidates for county executive. I have not heard from Mr. Dagner at all, so I don't expect him to show, but if he does, he is welcome up here. And then we will have another additional time with the candidates for County Council District B. And I will also say we are pretty far into District A, so if anybody from any district is watching this at any point, feel free to contact us. We'd love to help you set it up in your district so that we can have this kind of information go throughout the entire county. With that in mind, I'm going to invite the sheriff candidates up, and one of them's already up here. Hey, how about that? So Keith Runk is already up here. You're actually second, aren't you?
I believe so.
Yeah, so just go ahead and sit down for a second. And then we're going to hear first from Mr. Gahler, and I'm going to get down here, and I'm going to act as if he's here. I'm going to read the question and do the whole thing. So here we go. Mr. Gahler, there is a growing perception that the sheriff's office has drifted toward politics and away from public safety. What do you say to residents who feel that way, and how will you refocus the office?
Well, I think the perception is not reality in this circumstance. The office of sheriff is an elected office, and it's a partisan office, meaning you run in around the state as a Democrat or Republican. You run on the issues that you believe in, and the citizens put you in office based on those beliefs. So it does have, of course, a political tie-in, and drifting more toward politics, I can tell you, having done this job for 40 years, member of the state police before my service as Harford County Sheriff, we have always been in politics. Police, sheriffs have always been down in Annapolis fighting bad legislation, supporting good legislation, but this last 8 years has been something of a change here in our state with legislators who have focused on attacking our men and women, who have focused on passing terrible legislation, pro-criminal legislation, and we have been there, my team, along with I have a legislative person, director who goes down there with us, along with other sheriffs and police chiefs from around the state. Again, my own organization had a legislative section. State police has a legislative section to go down there and address this stuff. So whether it be at the state level, the county level, or even the federal level, it's exactly what I believe the elected sheriff should be doing. And it's not either or. Public safety is addressing, it's another tool in the toolbox to address the political side of what is coming toward our citizens, what makes our community less safe. And I will say, without my service as sheriff and without the work of my office, and again, paired up with sheriffs from across the state, if we had not been down there fighting over these last few years, including using the media in our fight to spread our message, we would be living in a less safe county right now. So what will I do to change going into another term? Absolutely nothing. We will continue on the course that we have set. And I believe it's been very effective, and we see the results here with record low crime in our county, and our citizens, again, feel very, very safe. So I plan no changes, that we will continue to be aggressively pursuing, making sure that bad laws are defeated and good laws are supported.
Mr. Runk. There's a growing perception that the sheriff's office has drifted toward politics and away from public safety. What do you say to residents who feel that way, and how will you refocus the office?
So first off, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here tonight. First thing I want to say is I agree with them. Absolutely 100% agree with them. The public fighting with the county executive and our elected officials, it doesn't serve the sheriff's office well, and it doesn't serve our community well. We can't accomplish anything while we're fighting on the issues that matter the most, and that's public safety. I think it erodes the public trust when we're arguing in a public format and we're constantly bashing the very people that will help us. How can I sit and be in a confrontation and challenge them in a public format, and then the next day go down and testify and expect their support? I don't think that's going to bode very well for the sheriff's office or the citizens. I understand the sheriff's office is an elected position, absolutely, but I can't allow politics to interfere with my main job to provide public safety. And I need to remain focused on working with these elected officials to pass legislation, get funding, and provide better safety to the community. It just doesn't work. The politics, I get that. We have to be down there. You have to testify. But we don't have to be in a confrontational state to try to get things done. The most important thing, and it has to remain a constant, is regardless of which party is in power, I need to be able to work with them. The office of sheriff should be a neutral position. We shouldn't be a political affiliation to any party. We serve everybody equally, regardless of their economic status, their demographics, or party affiliation. I can't delineate between what their party affiliation is or what their beliefs are. I have to serve everybody equally. I'm sorry? 30 seconds. Okay, I have to serve everybody equally, and that's going to be my role. My administration will work to improve the professionalism, respect, and accountability in the office, and the confrontational style will end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Runk. You're actually up on the next question. You're already up, so I'm going to ask you that right here. Some have criticized spending on consultants rather than on law enforcement and community policing. Do you believe the sheriff's office has enough funding, and is it being spent in the right places?
I can tell you that the sheriff's office is very well funded. He started out when he first took office at $69 million. He's up close to $140 million, $130, $140 million. So his budget has almost doubled. When I was at an event and Mr. Cassilly was speaking, county executive, over the past 4 years alone, he gave 25% increase. The average increase in the sheriff's office budget over all the years he's been in office has been between 7 and 9%. I think they're well funded. One of the first things I'll do when I get in office is do a forensic audit of the budget to find out where the wasted spending is, if there's any, find out where you have duplicate positions. There's a lot of things that go into figuring that out. Once I find out where the waste is and the extra money, that's going to be reallocated to, excuse me, to get wellness programs for the deputies and their families, improve that, improve their equipment, the technology, and community service programs. You know, work within getting the community resources they need. I believe, at least from what I'm being told and what I've read in the budget, there is extra spending, and there's wasted money in there that can be allocated to more public safety issues. I don't think I need a full-time consultant. You know, I would use a consultant on an as-needed basis. I don't understand what that role is there, but that's something I would look into as well. I would apply for community policing grants, both from the state and the federal, to make sure that we're maximizing all our assistance and resources, and 30, okay, and to help alleviate any strain on the budget. The best way, in my opinion, for community policing and improving that is getting the deputies out of the cars. Just having them in the community, developing those interpersonal relationships, working with the community to solve the problems so they can learn the issues, learn the people. And, excuse me, the best thing is that doesn't cost anything to the budget. That just costs an effort.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Runk. That's your time on that question.
Am I still up or?
No, it's
Okay.
Mr. Gahler now. Mr. Gahler, some have criticized spending on consultants rather than on law enforcement and community policing. Do you believe the sheriff's office has enough funding, and is it being spent in the right places?
Well, when I first got this question, we were provided these questions early. As the sheriff, I went to my budget director because I wasn't sure what we paid in consultants, so I asked her. She's been doing this job for 30 years, and I asked her, Jennifer, what are we spending on consultants? And she couldn't think of anything. So I'm not sure where that perception's coming from. It's political season, so things come up, but we spent on a salary study every 3 years since I've been in office. So we've done 4 salary studies, and we did a staffing study about a decade ago. And other than that, we hired a contractual attorney to prosecute a case, and those were the consultant fees. All of that is probably less than $150,000 out of a decade worth of funding, you know, in the area of $100 million for the sheriff's office. It's very minute. So we don't, you know, the answer to that is we don't spend money on consultants. And we should spend it on law enforcement and community policing, both of which are the same, but law enforcement, the men and women out there on the street, answering the calls for service, They deserve all the support, equipment, training, salaries that we can possibly fight to get for them, and we've done just that. And along with community policing. Our community policing unit is a 5-person unit. It does an incredible job. Those men and women do an incredible job in this county, and we've made it better during my time as sheriff. But National Night Out, record-setting crowds, our partnerships with the Boys and Girls Club, our Neighborhood Watch program, the Badges for Baseball, it's just program after program, our Christmas drive every single year, all done by a very small unit of deputies. And for the last 3 years, I've asked our current county executive for 2 additional people to help to make a great program even better, to focus better on community policing, and yet our county executive has not felt community policing deserves to have any additional support. So again, to the part of the question about do we have enough funding, the answer is no. This is a growing county, and we must, the Sheriff's Office, community policing, the traffic unit, patrol, the detectives, everything must continue to grow to meet the demands of a growing county. So is that going to be more every single year? Yes, it is. And am I going to continue to fight for the men and women to make sure they have what they need to do the job? Absolutely.
Mr. Runk, the next question goes to you first. This role demands collaboration with the public and across agencies and jurisdictions while enforcing laws from multiple levels of government. Why are you the right person for that job?
So during my career, I worked with elected officials, local, state, and federal law enforcement, and military components in the planning and the response to law enforcement, operations, disaster response, and emergency preparedness. My whole career was spent working with other agencies and other political entities, whether we were assisting municipalities with any kind of emergency preparedness, disaster. That's where we worked. I was successful because of my ability to work with everybody to accomplish common goals and reach the objectives that we needed to accomplish that mission, where we accomplished all the stakeholders involved. That involves compromise. You have to be willing to come to the table. You have to be willing to compromise so we can accomplish those goals. We don't have to agree, but we have to keep the mission first. The success, you can't achieve that if you're constantly arguing and disagreeing and failing to come to the table. That just doesn't work. I have to be at the table talking with them eye to eye to make sure we can accomplish our goals. My administration will always work with whoever's in office. I don't have the option of picking and choosing who I work with. So whoever holds those leadership roles, that's who we'll work with. My resume not only backs up my experience in working and collaborating with all different entities that law enforcement brings you to, but it also validates my leadership and the proven leadership in these situations, and that's why I believe I'm the best candidate for the job.
Thank you. Mr. Gahler, this role demands collaboration with the public and across agencies and jurisdictions while enforcing laws from multiple levels of government. Why are you the right person for that job?
I'd say I'm the right person for the job because that's exactly what I've done in my time in this role, even in my previous role with as a senior commander with the state police, but here as the sheriff of this county, that's exactly what we've done. I came into office, we established quickly our ComStat, our weekly meeting with all of our law enforcement partners, public safety partners, juvenile services, social services, the state's attorney's office, everybody coming to a table once a week to look at crime trends and patterns and figure out how to work together to identify those things and identify the suspects and bring cases to successful conclusion and prosecution. So that's exactly what we have done during my time as sheriff. We live in a very safe county, but we have to, and that's because of how well we coordinate with everybody. And not that we're not immune from everything that's bad. We've been through some terrible events here in the county. The loss of our deputies back in 2016, the Advanced Granite shooting in 17, the Rite Aid shooting in 18 and on, the Joppatowne High School shooting to start the school year last year. These are all tragedies, but we have a very safe community overall, and it's because of the proven leadership that we got through those events with me as the sheriff, and that we continue to provide for a very safe county overall. Another example of that is the work that we put into the opioid epidemic. Formed a community group made up of not just our law enforcement partners and not just law enforcement tactics, but community members, faith-based members, people suffering from addiction, the families who had lost loved ones, the health department, community services, and we all came together and we thought of some other programs, and I can't go through them all in the time I have, but our Hope House, our Pledge program, our Core Trailer, all of these were educational and treatment efforts that arose out of true partnerships. Our Traffic Task Force is partnership based with our allied police departments. So again, we've established those relationships, we maintain those relationships, and the results can't be argued with. Record low crime, again, historically, record low crime. 98% of our citizens feel safe in the community, and 85% respect the sheriff, the job the sheriff does, and the job the men and women of the sheriff's office do. You can't argue with results like that.
And then, Mr. Gahler, a topic of your choice: to maintain a respectful and constructive environment. This segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
I will just start by saying thank you for the opportunity to address the citizens, and I apologize for not being here in person tonight. Duty calls, but I will say, going into this, voters have a choice, as they do in any election. Voters have a choice. And I'm hoping they choose to go with someone who's tested and proven himself in this role as sheriff here in our county, serving the citizens. Again, we just talked about record low crime. We talked about the surveys that show the trust that the community has. But we also talk about the morale of the sheriff's office, which is great. And because of that, that's why 90% of the law enforcement deputies who voted to endorse more than 90% voted to endorse me to continue in office. They have faith and trust in what we've done in my time as sheriff and what we plan to continue to do, fight for the great men and women who serve our community. It's not only the law enforcement, but the corrections union has also endorsed me for another term in office. Our allied agencies, we go back to partnership. Bel Air, Aberdeen, Havre de Grace, those agencies, the municipal agencies, their fraternal order of police endorsed me for another term, as well as the countywide fraternal order of police lodge has endorsed me. And just found out recently that I got the statewide fraternal order of police endorsement. So not only do we have great community relationships, but the men and women who go out there across this state, in our county, to provide services to our citizens, they know and trust what I've done in my time as sheriff, and they want to see me for another term. I'm asking the citizens to vote for me and allow me to remain another term in office. There are still some things I want to accomplish. I want to build upon the great programs that we've had and the great successes that we've had. And of course, I want to look out for our citizens, but also for the men and women who do such a great job for us at the sheriff's office.
Mr. Runk. It is time for a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
So again, thanks for having me tonight. I come to you with 37 years of experience, and it's a vast array of experience. My time was on the front lines, most of the time in critical incidents. I ended as the Assistant Division Commander for Special Operations. So I bring a wide variety of experience that qualifies me to take this position. I work with all our elected officials to create a better quality of life and make the community safer. I support working with ICE and all law enforcement agencies because that's what I spent my career doing. I will abide by all the laws that I'm sworn to uphold. I will improve community relations by developing those interpersonal relationships where we come to you. You don't have to come to us. We will be out of our cars, making those contacts and developing that trust and reestablishing a better relationship. I'll enforce quality of life crimes because I believe that leads to deterring the more major crimes that happen. I don't want the criminal element being comfortable operating in our county. And that's what you guys deserve. Your complaints aren't being heard. This is what you're telling me, so I'm telling you I can make that change. We will make that change. I work actively with all the law enforcement in the communities. I have my whole career, and we've accomplished great things together, and I'll continue that as your next sheriff. I'll work with the schools, the county and state school safety directors, the school board, the PTA, law enforcement, to improve the school safety, the training, and the preparedness. That's where we need to improve. I'll look at getting more school resource officers so we can get all our schools covered. Okay, I'm providing you with a choice, and I've said this before. The overwhelming statements that I get are people want change. Let me be that change, please. Give me the chance to earn your trust and earn your respect. You have one choice on June 23rd, and that's where your voice can be heard. And I'm asking you to please vote for Runk for sheriff. And thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Runk. Thank you both to Mr. Runk and to Mr. Gahler for your responses. We're going to take about a 5-minute break to switch out microphones and get ready for the president of the county council candidates. So hang tight online and in the room, and we'll be back with you in about 5 minutes.
Could have voted for you doing early voting. Right, that's a thought.
All right, everybody, we are all mic'd up and ready to go. So I am going to introduce the candidates for the president of the county council, but in alphabetical order, but this is not the order that you're going in. I'll make sure that we know that. So first up, we have Billy Boniface, and you may sit up here. After Billy Boniface, we have Tony Giangiordano, Tony G, who's coming in the back. Come on up. And after Mr. Giangiordano, we have Samuel Kahl. Thank you all for participating tonight. Just so you know, all of your questions are going to have a different order except for the last one. So the order you go in for the first one is the same as the fourth one. First up, and I'm just going to, you can go ahead and sit if you'd like. I'm going to read the order for the first question. Mr. Giangiordano, you're going to go first, then Mr. Boniface, then Mr. Kahl. So even though I just had you sit down, Mr. Giangiordano, do you want to step up for your first question? Harford County's next master plan will be up for review next term. What are your priorities for that process, and how will you ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in shaping it?
Ensuring infrastructure keeps pace with any growth that is approved. Roads, schools, water, sewer capacity, police, fire, emergency services must be addressed before large-scale developments move forward. Second, I'd like to seek stronger protections to safeguard our communities from inappropriate zoning and overdevelopment in area that residents have repeatedly opposed. I've already worked to stop certain apartment expansion along Route 1 and oppose projects that do not fit surrounding communities. Development should benefit the people who already live here, not just outside interests. And third, economic development must remain a priority, but it should focus on attracting quality employers, supporting small businesses, revitalizing commercial corridors, and encouraging responsible redevelopment instead of simply adding more dense housing. Most importantly, residents must have a real and meaningful voice in shaping the master plan. That means holding meetings throughout every region of the county, not just in one central location, and making information easily accessible online with clear summaries, maps, and opportunities for feedback. I also support stronger notification requirements so nearby residents know whether major zoning or planning changes are being discussed. Too often, citizens feel they're brought into the process after decisions are already headed in one direction. I believe the public should be involved at the beginning, not the end. The master plan belongs to the people of Harford County, and their voices should guide its future.
Thank you. Just before you get up here, Mr. Boniface, I'm just going to stick that back just so we have you talking into the microphone. Okay, Mr. Boniface, you're next. It's the same question. Harford County's next master plan will be up for review next term. What are your priorities for that process, and how will you ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in shaping it?
Thank you. So often, Maryland is considered the United States in miniature. Harford County could be said the same for Maryland. We have very diverse communities across the entire county. Norrisville and Whiteford are very different than Joppatowne and Edgewood. It recognizes that in that diversity, we have to take in consideration what we do in one area affects the other area. So we have to make sure that it's not negatively affected. Often, the master plan process usually starts with the current government in power at that time, bringing to the community their proposal of what they want their community to look like. I think it should be the other way around. It should be starting with the citizens, not the government. I would support putting in place a portal using technology that people can make recommendations, and actually you can see those recommendations so you know what your neighbors are saying. And that should be the starting point. There should be community involvement on the front end. And then that master plan should be written for that community. And then the council member currently that's in office at that time that represents the area very much should be involved in that process so that he or she could be bringing back to the council what the administration will be proposing. That is vital because when a bill is, the master plan is introduced to the council, it starts the legislative time clock. And we need to spend more time on the front end making sure that we get it right. Listen, it's, they're also very important with that is looking at, once you have established your master plan for your community, is putting in place a zoning code that gives you the tools so that you can implement that, so that you have the right tools to put it in properly the way that you want it on the front end. And finally, there should be benchmarks and timelines in place that hold county government accountable for getting those master plan ideas. It's great to have a plan, but if you never implement any of the ideas that were put in place, then it's no good. So thank you very much.
Boniface. Mr. Kahl, Harford County's next master plan will be up for review next term. What are your priorities for that process, and how will you ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in shaping it?
Sure. Well, Adam, thank you for hosting this tonight. Very well put together event. Look, our master plan is the place where we as citizens get to decide what we want Harford County to look like. It's not a chance for technocrats at the state level or lobbyists for high-density development to have their way with us. This is our chance to say what we want our county to look like. And Harford County has a very great sense of place, very unique. It's not a copy and paste community. And we are, in and of ourselves, very different. Joppa is different than Bel Air and is different from Haverty Grace to Jarrettsville. But we need to make sure that we protect what makes Harford County special. Our ecology, our economy, our history, and our people are too important to forsake that. Now, we talk about how we can have residents have a meaningful voice in that process. And I've thought about this a lot because, you know, my wife and I, we have 4 kids, and we've often felt like a lot of the opportunity for public involvement for the legislative process or different plans, like the master plan or others, they typically happen on a weekday evening, maybe 6 or 7 p.m. And if you're someone with young kids, you know, chances are your priorities are getting them out from school, getting them cleaned up, giving them dinner, getting them to bed. And it's very hard to get yourself up to Bel Air for a hearing at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And parents and families, we don't have political action committees. We don't have often deep pockets. And we don't have the time to go protest on the corner. So I think it's important that we open up as much as possible, not just with the master plan, but with the legislative process in general, opportunities for virtual participation. I mean, the private sector, the public sector, everywhere else has adopted the ability to participate without being somewhere in person. And I do believe in-person interaction is important, but there's a time and a place to let citizens that maybe can't make a 6 or 7 p.m. weekday evening commitment still have their voices heard for them and their family. So thank you again for having me. Look forward to the rest of this tonight.
Thank you very much. The next question will be in the order of Mr. Boniface, Mr. Kahl, and then Mr. Giangiordano. And Mr. Giangiordano, your microphone's not turned on, so could you just look for the switch on top and flip that open for us? We won't keep you on the hot mic the whole time. Mr. Boniface, next question goes to you. What legislation would you pursue to protect our environment from projects like Ridgely's Reserve and proposed data centers while still allowing Harford County to grow?
Two very different issues. The first one, well, we definitely need stricter bonding requirements and abatement requirements on the developer. They need to be held accountable. And we need more timely inspection processes done so that we can catch issues before they get too far along and the damage is done, and it takes so much to repair that damage. You know, a lot of these are state mandates. We need to work better with our state partners and, you know, and be ahead of these things before they get to the point where it's so difficult for us to repair the damage. In regards to the data centers, currently the county executive has brought legislation before the council to ban them in Harford County. I fully support that, and I definitely think that you will see that bill pass 7-0, and the council will support that. But the real problem will be when we come to working with the state, because they repeatedly have overridden a lot of what we, do here locally to protect ourselves. Case in point, I'm very active with the Maryland Farm Bureau. We have been fighting the issue of solar for some time. They overrode the state, and now solar is being allowed wherever they want, regardless of what local laws are put in place. That's wrong. As far as high-density housing, they're pushing that into the counties without us being able to have any oversight over it. When I was on the council before, we got to choose whether those came in place or not. At one point then, the state said, no, we're going to stop and we're going to tell you counties where things are going to go. So we need to be working together, and because the real fight's going to come in Annapolis after the election this year. And so there needs to be a comprehensive plan of all of us working together to counter-end that. And I'm very supportive of the current relationship the county has with the Harford Land Trust. Working together, they're able to go in, preserve especially forested ground, and protect that. And then actually the county benefits from that for their requirements for their water permitting. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boniface. Mr. Kahl. What legislation, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Thank you. What legislation would you pursue to protect our environment from projects like Ridgely's Reserve and proposed data centers while still allowing Harford County to grow?
Well, with Ridgely's Reserve, I think most of us have a basic understanding of executive versus legislative branch of government. There was a lot of issues. The legislative branch of government, you can craft the toughest, most strict requirements, but you will need the executive branch of government to enforce those for them to be any good. So, and I give the county executive Cassilly and his administration credit for bringing to bear enforcement actions with Ridgely's Reserve, although it took some time, but they made it there and got it in a much better place than it was. But certainly there's more that can be done. When we look at the fines that the developer pays for noncompliance with erosion and sediment control issues in particular, you have to make sure that those fines over time stay at a point where it forces the developer to fix the issue. Those fines are not supposed to be a source of revenue. They're supposed to force the developer to do something. If they're too low, they'll write it off as a cost of doing business and let the problem persist. So those fines need to be such that the developer sees that bill and says, okay, we better go fix this issue. Economically for us, it's better to do that than keep paying these fines. There are some other things that we can look at, and you could look at tying performance bonds into erosion and sediment control plans. And because you were kind enough to provide these questions ahead of time, I think it allowed all of us to do some research. And I was reading about some different electronic and camera sensors that can measure turbidity in water that could be actually made public, which I think would be a great step in increasing transparency that these projects are being done in a way that doesn't harm our environment. And I think along these lines, we talk about land preservation efforts. Often people hear about land preservation and they think of something up in the north end of the county, but Harford County's been able to put those programs to use right here in Joppa and preserve a lot of acres to keep them green and forested and not have housing run on everywhere. We have to protect our environment because it's the water that we drink, it's the air we breathe, it's where our kids grow up. We cannot afford to let this issue slip. Thank you. I'll give you 20 seconds back.
Mr. Giangiordano. What legislation would you pursue to protect our environment from projects like Ridgely's Reserve and proposed data centers while still allowing Harford County to grow?
So first of all, I strongly oppose any large data centers or data centers, period. So I support stronger protection to prevent the projects that threaten our environment. They're going to overwhelm our infrastructure, negatively impact the surrounding communities beyond what anybody can even imagine. The noise will travel for 6 miles and it'll penetrate through any homes and it'll be unbearable and probably lead to some severe problems with people and their health. So you need to be responsible, not for balance, not driven outside interests at the expense of the residents' quality of life. I support legislation that would significantly tighten zoning, licensing, and permitting requirements for massive industrial-style projects such as data centers and high-impact developments like Ridgely's Reserve. The Ridgely's Reserve with the runoff was a major disaster. We worked on increasing fines and everything with that. It took a long time to get some of that stuff through, but I think it still was not sufficient enough. One proposal I support is requiring enhanced review standards through licensing and permits for any commercial or industrial building projects that exceed 250,000 square feet. Projects of that scale should face stricter scrutiny regarding traffic, water use, stormwater management, environmental impact, energy demand, noise, and compatibility with nearby communities. I believe Harford County must strengthen protections for agricultural land, forest, environmentally sensitive areas. Once open space is lost, we can't get it back. We should prioritize redevelopment of existing commercial areas and underutilized properties before approving large new projects that permanently alter the character of our county. At the same time, I do recognize Harford County must continue to grow economically. The answer is smart, quality businesses that create jobs without overwhelming infrastructure. We should focus supporting small businesses, expanding targeted commercial redevelopment, and bringing industries that fit Harford County's character and long-term vision. Most importantly, residents deserve a stronger voice in these decisions. Too many people feel major projects are pushed forward before the public fully understands the impact. I support earlier public notification requirements and additional community input.
Thank you. Question 3 will go in the order of Mr. Kahl, then Mr. Giangiordano, and then Mr. Boniface. Mr. Kahl, the County Council has faced significant internal divisions and tension with the executive branch. How will you cut through that gridlock to actually deliver for your constituents?
Well, you know, when we think about how you're impacted by government on a daily basis, right? How the roads are, when you call 911, if an ambulance shows up on time, how the parks and rec are performing. Most of those functions of government on a day-to-day level are overseen by the county executive and by the executive branch of government. It's important that those on our council have a good understanding of how the executive branch functions so that when they pass a budget, they know what it's like to be on the other side of that. You know, I'm proud of, I've had almost a decade in state and local transportation departments in senior leadership roles, and I also worked for then Senator Cassilly as his chief of staff in Annapolis during his first 2 years as a senator. And so I bring with me, I think the value proposition that I bring is I am a fresh face, not beholden to special interest. My campaign contributions do not come with any IOUs in return, but I do have legitimate experience, leadership experience in the executive branch of government that will make me ready day one to lead the Harford County Council in a way that will improve the services that citizens receive on a daily basis. I think it's important that we remember that the citizens are our customers and we exist for them. And so our job is to work with the other branch of government to make sure we are putting forth a product to them that we're proud of, whether it's public safety, infrastructure, which is kind of in my background and is a favorite of mine. We need to make sure that the council has a good understanding of the executive branch implications of the budgets and the actions that they take. Because at the end of the day, it's not about who wins the war on social media. It's not about who comes out, you know, on top in a shouting match or even in an election. What matters is that the citizens are getting what they deserve and what they pay taxes for. They pay good taxes to the county to and we want to make sure that they get services that respect how hard they work for their tax dollars. It is critical that we keep the citizens first in what we do, regardless of party, regardless of even intra-party positions, that the end product is one that protects Harford County for us and for our future generations.
Thank you. Mr. Giangiordano. The County Council has faced significant internal divisions and tension with the executive branch. How will you cut through that gridlock to actually deliver for your constituents?
While there have been disagreements on the county council, at times tension with the county executive, I always have believed that open dialogue and communication are essential to getting things accomplished. I've worked with County Executive Cassilly on many issues. Although we do not always agree, I do respect his commitment to the fiscal responsibility and his desire to keep Harford County on a sound financial path while preventing unchecked overdevelopment. Over the past year, we worked together on several important issues, including school budget, appointing candidates for the Board of Education, and agreeing on recommendation involving zoning matters. Those discussions were not always easy, but they demonstrated that government works best when leaders communicate openly, respect differing viewpoints, and stay focused on what's best for the county. At the same time, I believe one of the biggest challenges facing local government is the growing influence of special interests, whether it's unions, large developers, political insiders, insiders over decisions that should be made in the best interest of the citizens. The county council must remain independent and focus on representing taxpayers and residents, not outside pressure groups or political agendas. As council president, my approach would be focused on collaboration, professionalism, and results. Residents expect their elected officials to work through differences and solve problems, not create more division. That means bringing people to the table early, listening to differing viewpoints, finding common ground whenever possible, while always keeping the interests of the Harford County citizens first. In addition to my public service experience, I bring more than 35 years of real-world business experience as the owner of AAG Insurance. Every day I work with individuals, families, businesses, owners to listen to their concerns, help solve problems, and provide solutions that protect what they've worked hard to build. That experience has given me a unique understanding of the challenges facing residents and businesses in Harford County, rising costs and regulations to growth, taxes, and public safety concerns. Very few candidates can bring the level of hands-on experience to the position of county council president. I understand how decisions made by government directly impact working families, small businesses, taxpayers, because I deal with those concerns every single day. I believe that practical experience combined with my years of public service allows me to bring a problem-solving approach to county government that focuses on results instead of politics.
Thank you. Your time has elapsed. Mr. Boniface. The County Council has faced significant internal divisions and tension with the executive branch. How will you cut through that gridlock to actually deliver for your constituents?
This is the very reason I've chosen to run again for the County Council. It's been 12 years since I've been on it, since I served as the council president. There's too much division now. Our citizens deserve good government, and good government comes from working together. And I think I have a track record that I demonstrated during my 8 years on the council of bringing a very diverse group together and working with the county executive over 8 years to accomplish things that needed to be done. There were some very difficult times, some of the worst recessions since the Great Recession that we had to deal with. It required constant communication. When you're council president, it's really not about your issues. It's more about the council's issues. Your job is to put your issues aside and make sure that each council representative is able to bring their agendas forward, and each one of them has a fair opportunity to have their issues debated and taken before the public and be considered by their other fellow council members. You know, I served as a voice for the council before working with the county executive. And I want to do that again. The real enemy here in this county is the city of Annapolis. And unless we get our act together, we're going to let them just steamroll over top of us as they have. The liberal agenda that's coming out of there, dealing with solar, dealing with data centers, dealing with high-density housing, if we're not working all on the same page, we're going to be able to stop it. So I feel that I have the experience and the desire to do so. I have a vested interest. I have a farm here. We've been in this county for 4 generations. I hope that we continue to be here for multiple generations to come. In order for us to continue to operate in this county, our government has to work. And that's what I want to do, is to bring everyone back to the table and have honest dialogue and not take it personally at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final question or statement from you, we'll have Mr. Giangiordano first, then Mr. Boniface, then Mr. Kahl. Mr. Giangiordano, this is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
One issue I believe deserves far more attention is Maryland's energy policy and the impact it's having on families, businesses, and our future reliability as a state. Over the last several years, we have seen aggressive pushes from Annapolis towards large solar farm expansions, electrical vehicle mandates, restriction on gas heating systems that will expire in 2035, and the closure of traditional power generating facilities, all while energy costs continue to rise for working families. I believe residents should have choices, not government mandates. People should be able to decide whether they want to drive a gas vehicle, a hybrid, or an electrical vehicle based on what works best for their family and budget, not because the government is forcing one option over another. The same applies to how people heat their homes and cook their meals. Families should have the freedom to choose natural gas, electric, propane, and other energy source without government interference. I also have serious concerns about energy reliability. Maryland continues shutting down reliable power generating while becoming increasingly dependent on outside energy sources and intermittent power such as solar and wind. While renewable energy can play a role in our future, I do not believe it can fully meet long-term energy demands on its own, especially as electricity consumption continues to grow. Instead of policies that eliminate consumer choice, I believe we should pursue a balance of all above energy strategies that include investment in cleaner natural gas technology, expanded nuclear energy, renewable energy where appropriate, and modernization of our power infrastructure. We need reliable, affordable, and realistic energy solutions that protect our environment and our economy. Harford County residents should not be forced to bear the burden of policies created without considering affordability, infrastructure capacity, or long-term reliability. My focus will always be on protecting local residents, preserving common sense choices, and ensuring that families and businesses continue to thrive without excessive government mandates and controlling how they live their everyday lives.
Thank you very much. Mr. Boniface. This is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you very much for putting this forum on this evening. I appreciate it. My campaign is based on 4 principles. I'm very concerned about the runaway growth that we have taking place in the county. We all have difficulty getting out on the roads that we travel each day. We need to take a pause and figure out what we're doing wrong and how we can stop that and ensure that no future development moves forward without the infrastructure in place to support it. Number 2, I'm a strong proponent of law enforcement. From the first time, almost 20 years ago, that I went on a ride-along in the Edgewood area with a deputy, I realized the challenges that they have each day and that the sheriff has. I've always been a supporter of law enforcement, and I continue to advocate for them today. And if I am council president, I will be a voice for them and have their back, and that of the sheriff. Thirdly, I feel that parents should have a role in the child's education. Currently today, we don't have that. We're trying to make changes, and we need to continue in those efforts. And then lastly, I'm a strong proponent of lowering of property taxes. Property taxes is a recessive tax. When you're being taxed, increasing your taxes because of the state's assessments process, you know, you're living in your home, if you paid for it, and you still have to pay more in taxes for it every year, that's wrong. Now, you know, county government relies on property taxes and income taxes as their primary roles for funding. I get that. But, you know, if you don't lower the property tax rate to where it brings in the same amount of property taxes as the year before to the constant yield, then you're not being fair to the constituents. You need to tell them, listen, we're going to keep the tax rate the same. It's going to bring in this much more of your tax money. This is the reason that we need it. But I have people, you always need to look at the budget as a plan and the audits as how you're doing. Because the audits, they tell you how much fund balance you have available to use, and you need to be asking the tough questions of the council. Why are you keeping the tax rate where it is? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kahl, this is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
Great. Well, thank you, and thank you again all for being here. And it's been a pleasure to present and to talk about what's important to me in this campaign. Look, it's election season. You know, we got about a month out, and that means people are saying what they think will sound good to win the votes, and that's to be expected. The question isn't which candidate do you agree with the most. The question is which candidate can you trust to keep those promises on year 1 and year 2 and year 3 of their term. My campaign donors, people that give to me, small donors, those donations do not come with IOUs in return for me. I am in this because my wife and I have 4 beautiful young kids, and I can tell you confidently from my travels around the state, and I think many of us would agree, Harford County is a very special place, and I want to raise them here, and I want them to raise their kids here. When they get older and they look to settle down and make a home for themselves, I want every part of Harford County to be a viable, attractive option for them to live peacefully and prosperously, whether it's here in Joppa, whether it's up in Perryman or Belcamp or Norrisville. I want them to see Harford County and the whole of it as the place where they want to settle down and raise their family. I bring with me the experience necessary from my time working in and around transportation and public administration and public policy, in addition to being a fresh face, the necessary experience to lead the Harford County Council on day 1 in a strong conservative direction. Harford County is the largest Republican county left in the state of Maryland. Maryland's an incredible state, suffering under very, very bad decisions out of Annapolis. Harford County needs strong, energetic, and experienced leaders that are going to have the stamina to fight the fight for Harford County, for our current citizens and businesses and seniors, and for their kids. So, look, running for office for me was not a bucket list item. Life is busy, there's a lot going on, but for me, this is important enough to take time and resources out to do. I want voters like myself, young families, to feel like they have a voice and a seat at the table when these decisions that will have generational impacts are made. So again, thank you all for being here. Very well done forum, and thank you all for your interest, and don't forget to vote, and it's coming up soon. And then the ads stop and it goes back to normal.
Thank you. And thank you to all 3 of the candidates for County Council President who participated. We very much appreciate it. We're going to be taking another 5-minute break to switch out microphones. The county executive candidates will be coming up next. I would like to just briefly take a moment to pause and thank the people of the Joppa Development and Heritage Corporation for your work to put this together, whether it was editing questions or just keeping me sane through the process. I appreciate it. I especially want to single out Steve Hackman, who's back there, and he helped me plan this whole thing, and he's running everything in the back, making sure that the live stream's going well, so thank you very much, Steve. He's going to do it tomorrow, too, on his birthday, so I really appreciate him. Again, feel free to walk around for the next 5 minutes. On the internet, we'll see you in about 5 minutes, and is Spencer Dagner here? Okay. Okay, everybody. We are all mic'd up and ready to go in the back. So if we could find our seats, we'll start again. Once again, I'm going to introduce the candidates in alphabetical order, and then I'm going to switch the order for our questions. But alphabetical order seems the best way to do it. So first up, we have Mr. Bob Cassilly, who I think is still being talked to somewhere in the back there. So would somebody send Mr. Cassilly up for us, please? I know he's here. I just talked to him. All right, let's vamp for another minute. We'll give the candidates a minute to make sure that we know where they are. Okay, we found everybody. So, first up, Mr. Bob Cassilly. Thank you. And then we also have Mr. Patrick Vincenti. And Mr. Vincenti, you're first for the first question, so if you'd like, you may stand up at the podium. Sure. Can I just see your mic back real quick? We'll make sure that we have the light on there. Yeah, okay. All right, Mr. Vincenti. Oh, hang on, I have a question for you first. No, feel free. Mr. Vincenti, environmentally speaking, and keeping in mind proposed data centers and the Ridgely's Reserve fiasco, what steps would you take to manage irresponsible development in the county?
Well, again, thank you, first of all, Adam, for the opportunity to be here. I want to thank the JDHC for also participating and setting things up. We truly appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak to our citizens throughout the county. When we talk about environmental issues, with the legislation introduced by the County Council recently, we've made it very clear data centers do not belong in Harford County. Councilman Bennett from District F put forward a bill for a moratorium, then amendments. The administration then followed suit with a total ban. We are introducing amendments coming up tomorrow night to make that ban emergency action. It'll take place immediately once it's been voted on. So no place for data centers at all. With Ridgely's Reserve, the contractor did a terrible job following the proper environmental regs and the process. And the administration had taken them to court, I think, 2 or 3 times. And former council members have changed the legislation to increase the fines for these grievous events. But it needs to be something more than fines. And I think moving forward, when I get in as county executive, I'm going to ask for council to take a look at that and make those changes. I think it's important that we create strong legislation wherever possible. For the majority of my adult life, I've supported our waterways, wildlife, their habitats, and our parks and rec. Infrastructure, schools, public safety, parks, and open spaces must come before any type of new development. When elected to office, I'll ask Planning and Zoning and Economic Development to review areas for redevelopment and infill. I'll focus on my economic development strategies on engaging property owners with redevelopment opportunities on buildings that already exist. In my time on the council, I preserved over 11,000 acres, saving over 100 family farms, updated the Ag Preservation Program to expand opportunities across the county, including the Southern County area.
Thank you, Mr. Vincenti. Mr. Cassilly. Environmentally speaking, and keeping in mind proposed data centers and the Ridgely's Reserve fiasco, what steps would you take to manage irresponsible development in the county?
So good evening, and thank you all as well for putting on the forum here. So you have two pieces of the question. One is obviously the planning and zoning side of stuff, because once you overzone an area and allow development, the process will take over, and it's a fait accompli. So my administration just came through the comprehensive rezoning process, and we didn't add any additional residential upzoning, nor did we push anything beyond the development envelope. The council voted to expand the development envelope in a couple of places, but we didn't. And that's your first line of defense, is in the zoning process. We're getting ready to review the master plan, which leads into your future zoning, rezoning efforts, and that will be a very open and collaborative process. We've engaged the appropriate contractors to make sure that the citizens will be able to provide meaningful input in a convenient format and let us digest that. Once you've got the development zoned, the next step is to make sure that people aren't doing it irresponsibly. Well, what I did was, when I came in, I took on the Abingdon Woods development. That was, remember, the Save Abingdon Woods. We stepped in there. We stepped into court. We reversed the prior administration's position, which was go Abingdon Woods, develop mega warehouses, go, go, go. We put a full halt on that, turned that around, stopped it, and forced the developer to replant the trees. The prior administration, you recall, they were go, go, go on the mega warehouses in a number of areas. We stepped in, worked with the county council, and again put a stop on that irresponsible development and pulled that one back. Same thing with the apartments in the B3 district. B3 was always intended to be a zone where you could have that Wawa. So you didn't have to come all the way to Bel Air from North Hartford to get a soda and fill up with gas. That's your B3. That was the purpose of your B3 zoning. But then there was a change that said, well, or you could just put apartments in there. Which, how did you get from a Wawa to 3 large buildings with multifamily home or multifamily buildings in there? So we stepped in and put a stop to that and amended the code over some stiff opposition and got a majority of council members to go along with that and support that. So that's how you control it. It really is a matter of integrity, doing what you said, what you told the voters you would do, and that's what we've done.
Thank you, Mr. Cassilly. You're actually up for the next question first. So, costs are rising and revenue growth isn't guaranteed. If elected, how do you ensure Harford County continues to move forward no matter what the economy brings?
Well, I think the economy is going to bring good stuff. The economy is bringing good stuff. You know, the age-old position for a lot of folks in Harford County was, all we have to sell is houses. That's it. If you're not selling houses, building houses, there is no economy here. And you were either a farmer or you were a land developer. And there wasn't much else in between. Well, we've matured. There's a whole lot happening here in Harford County now. And what we provide is an incredible workforce, an incredible atmosphere for businesses to work in. And these new high-tech businesses, what we're really courting, these folks, they're chasing a really educated workforce that can work anywhere. They can get a job all over the place. But what they want to do is they want to work someplace where they have a good quality of life, where they have good public safety, good schools, convenient, nice recreation, open space, recreation, places that their families, they can raise a family. And that's what Harford County provides. And because of that, we are a real magnet for a lot of very high-tech infrastructure. The business just down the road here a little bit just got a $50 million contract from the Defense Department. And they're pulling in young folks to come work there every day. We've got a high-quality cementitious plant just back here off of Fort Hoyle. They're now producing these 24-foot diameter pipelines that's going in for the Washington Sewer Service. And that's being produced right here in Edgewood. That's giving really good jobs to a lot of young people to do that. This is miles and miles, this giant pipeline. We also have the contract to do the new tunnels for Baltimore City. That's right here in Harford County. The drones that you're seeing for the Defense Department is really going out for, we're doing that stuff right over in the Level area. $1 million contracts with the Marine Corps, the Army, the intelligence community, buying these things. There's just so much happening as spin-off from Aberdeen Proving Ground. So we have plenty of opportunity to continue to build a strong economy. What we have to be careful, though, is we can't kill the goose that lay in the golden eggs. That is the quality of life here. And that's what people want to come here for. That's what's attracting these high-tech businesses that pay good wages, that give a good return on the taxes. And we're going to continue to court those businesses to come in here. And they are. They're moving in from all over the country, even from Baltimore County and Baltimore City, because they like what we have.
Thank you, Mr. Cassilly. Mr. Vincenti. Costs are rising and revenue growth isn't guaranteed. If elected, how do you ensure Harford County continues to move forward no matter what the economy brings?
So for me, it's affordability. We need to address everything in Harford County so that our citizens can afford to live here. Many of our citizens are on fixed incomes. We talk about this all the time. And they're faced with the rising cost, whether it be a mortgage, whether it be a lease fee for rent, BG&E, fuel, food, property tax, insurance, on and on. We need to find a way to make sure that our citizens can afford to stay here. I remain committed to holding the line on taxes and unnecessary fees. And when we were faced with a higher water and sewer rate, we said no. And everyone agreed, and we pulled that bill. We're sitting on a $250 million fund balance in water and sewer. We don't need to hit our citizens with another unnecessary fee. And we can't put all of our eggs in one basket. APG, we all agree, is our #1 employer. And absolutely, Harford County depends on that. And Aberdeen and Edgewood, both. But we need a balanced approach to everything that we do that impacts our economy. Small business is the backbone of the county and our country, as a matter of fact. And we need to support and grow our local small businesses while attracting new businesses. Continue to highlight our ag community, our farming community, our tourism, things like that, so that we can move forward and make Harford County absolutely a great place to continue to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
Mr. Cassilly, you're next.
Let's answer the last question first.
I'm sorry?
I just did the last one first.
Yeah, we have you, whoever spoke first for the first question doesn't get to speak last for last one.
Just trying to understand the later. You're good.
Okay. The tone of Harford County government, Harford County's government starts with you. How will you demonstrate the leadership you expect from others while navigating a fractious political landscape?
Wow, it's been a fractious political landscape. Look, we want to all get along, and that's great. Getting along is good, and working together is good. But the bottom line is the bottom line, and the bottom line is this: that I took an oath to do a number of things, particularly in the area of revenues, taxes, and this creates a necessary or an unfortunate friction in that 3/4 of the money, the tax money comes to the county executive, and the county executive then divvies that out to various entities. 3/4 of that goes to government entities that I don't control, and those entities, their obligation is to spend your money. They don't face the taxpayers. Those entities don't face the taxpayers. They just say, give me money, and you give them money. They want more money and more money and more money. In our system, the only one who faces the taxpayers would be your county executive first, and then the county council. So those outside entities, saving your tax dollars, they're not elected for that. They're elected for policing or school or teaching or whatever, managing the courts, prosecution. They don't have to say, nobody says, oh, well, are you efficient at doing that? That's not the criteria. So 3/4 of the budget is under the control of folks who are just spend, spend, spend. So you're creating a friction there. And what the county executive's got to do is have the fortitude to stand up and face that criticism, that inevitable onslaught when you say, hey, on behalf of the taxpayers, on behalf of the many taxpayers here in Harford County, I can't give you what you're asking for. The response is never going to be, it's never going to be, oh, well, thank you, Bob. We appreciate that. It's never going to be that. I asked you for this, you gave this, you're so, and so you're going to face the firing line. We work collaboratively with the federal government, our federal partners. I go down to Washington. I meet with they're mostly all Democrats there. I meet with all of them. We work in Annapolis collaboratively. with the executive staff over there. I work with the 3 municipal mayors and their councils. So it is important to maintain good relationships. We work very hard to have a good relationship with the county council. But you know, it's a challenge because the pushback. So we'll continue to work hard in the next 4 years to maintain relationships. But in the end, what's really important is do your job. That's what people really want.
Thank
do
you.
Your job.
Thank you. Mr. Vincenti. The tone of Harford County's government starts with you. How will you demonstrate the leadership you expect from others while navigating a fractious political landscape?
So I think anybody who knows me knows that throughout my life, my marriage, my business, my time on the council, I've maintained that communication is the key to everything. I'm running to repair the division in this county. It started on December 5th, 2022, when an elected official was forbid to stand on the stage during inauguration. We need common sense leadership, continued communication, collaboration, transparency, and unity. Our county desperately needs a uniter. I believe I'm that person for Harford County. As your next county executive, I will continue my open door policy, surround myself with quality individuals, having everyone at the table when decisions are made that impact our county. And I must remind everybody, the people that are receiving money from the budget are the taxpayers. They're the ones that's putting the money in the budget. It's their money. Our citizens are feeling financial pressures across the county, in all sectors. I talked about rising cost. After a structural deficit was announced, our county now has an unprecedented level of fund balance. It's time to find a way to give some relief to our citizens and give back. Thank you.
And actually, Mr. Vincenti, you're up first for the next statement as well. This is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
Thank you. And again, thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. In my time on the council, we've achieved many things that I'm extremely proud of. We've held the line on taxes and unnecessary fees, and we actually gave a tax break. Approved 11 balanced budgets, helping to maintain our AAA bond rating since 2012. We started the Route 40 Revitalization Committee with our partners, stakeholders, and landowners, which I believe has just been a success. We've passed legislation for our senior and veteran tax credit, revised the pawnbroker legislation to create a 30-day hold on specific items, passed electronic message board sign legislation for our civic organizations, fire companies, public safeties, and churches. We updated our zoning code to support ag retail sales. 2 cycles of comp rezoning with the lowest number of applicants and zoning changes. Passed enhancements to our LoSAP program to support our volunteer fire and EMS guys and gals and support our recruitment and retention efforts. We created legislation for school bus stop arm cameras, and we created legislation to update our ag preservation program to expand opportunities countywide, especially along the southern corridor. Thank you again for the opportunity. And are we closing? Is this the end of it?
This is your last statement.
Very good. Well, then I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and I would ask you for your support on June 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vincenti. Mr. Cassilly. This is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
So, when I came into office, we faced a $90 million structural deficit because the finances had been handed in a political fashion to reap political rewards in an election year. So we had to respond to that. Over the last over a less than 3-year period, through careful fiscal management, we erased a $90 million structural deficit and put the county back on sound footing. But we're in a state that has a lot of risks for the taxpayers and for the community, mostly because of the policies in Annapolis. So we've trying to put forward an adequate fund balance that's matches the level that's the bonding the agencies say we should have. We're almost there. We're not quite there, but we'll be there at the end of this year. We're very confident in our position. When I came in, the trust in government was rock bottom. The citizens would line up in the council. They felt like government was not on their side. They weren't being treated fairly or honestly. We reversed that. We stepped in and threw the marker down right away and said, we're here for the people. We're speaking with the people. Integrity's there. We stepped in. The first thing we did was again, the Abingdon Woods thing, and pushed back and said stop. Of course, once we did that, the ire of the development community just went through the roof. And because of our careful fiscal stewardship on the environment, the development community is certainly rallied against us, to say the least. So you can see the ads. You know where the money's coming from. They don't want 4 more years of responsible, honest government. They want it back to the good old boys. They get to play, and the rest of you get to pay. So we're going to continue to push back and run a competent, honest government, and not sell out the taxpayers. On getting things done, we stepped in. We're the ones that set up a countywide ambulance service. That's saving lives every day. 17 full-time units, which were all busy on Saturday, I might add, and Saturday and Sunday. We were able to step in and solve problems. We're a doer. You look what we've done on Route 40. We had our meeting this past week. We handed out a 5-page list of absolute accomplishments that this administration has done throughout the Route 40 community. Not theory, not wanna-dos, not maybe-dos. We listed 5 pages of we did this and this and this and this. Mission accomplished for 5 pages. So we're an administration that does. We're not an administration that talks. We're an administration that
Thank you, Mr. Cassilly.
Produces. Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to our county executive candidates. We very much appreciate you. Next up is going to be our candidates for the County Council for District B. I know that some of you who are in District A may not stick around. I encourage you to do so, but if you are a District A person and you're going to leave, please vote. The more people that we have vote, the louder our voice will be heard in Bel Air and beyond. This live stream can be shared. All the candidates, you are welcome to use it, and you can use it how you need to. But please vote and stay part of the political process. Thank you for everybody for coming tonight. Now, please stay tuned for the County Council B representatives. That'll be in about 5 minutes when we get the microphones situated. We'll see you in about 5 minutes. Hey everybody, we are ready for our candidates for District B. I do want to address, I got a question in our interstitial time here, why did I not invite District A's Republican candidates? And that's because Jeff is running unopposed. So he doesn't have to do this part. He is already through to the general, that's why. We will have District A's candidates tomorrow when District B's Democratic representative candidate is running unopposed. So we will have District A's tomorrow in the Democratic Forum if you'd like to tune in for that or come. Our three candidates are already seated up here. We have Russ English, and we have Stephanie Flasch, and we have Alison Imhoff. And we are going, actually, I guess we are going in that order for the first one. So it worked. I did this by random number draw, but I guess it worked out alphabetically. So, Mr. English, the first question goes to you. Harford County's next master plan will be up for review next term. What are your priorities for that process, and how will you ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in shaping it?
Okay. The master plan is basically a 10-year plan. It was started in 2016, was the last time it was voted in. It also encompasses a lot of different things. There's master plans for other areas, including pedestrian, bicycling. Joppa Joppatowne has a master plan that's incorporated into the basic plan. So the communities have a right to put in some information when they put their plans together. It can be brought to the council to be added to the existing master plan and then to the new master plan as it goes forward. The focus on this plan is multifold. It has everything from the infrastructure to zoning and planning to transportation, economic development, and healthy communities as well. That's where the plans come in from, like I said, Joppatowne, Joppa, Edgewood, Abingdon have all put certain things in. It's a one document, basically a big charter, and it has a lot of things. Priorities with this is we need to change some of the zoning so that we stunt the growth. You can't stop someone that owns their own property from actually doing and building on that property. But if we set priorities and put together a plan so that they can stunt them and shorten it up, instead of putting monster developments together, we put small communities together. And we can save our rural land that way, as well as we still allow some growth within the county. All the stuff we're doing, changes are just becoming basically outrageous. Some of the stuff that's growing this county right now is going beyond what we have and what we need. Infrastructure. Infrastructure is also incorporated in this plan. We don't have enough infrastructure now to support what we have. We have areas and communities that are complaining that they're having water problems. Well, what's next behind water problems is probably going to be sewer if we don't already have them in certain areas. We have basic areas right now where The septic systems are all starting to fail because they're in a Beltsville clay area, and that needs to change. So we have to grow our infrastructure. We have to put the money together to do that, as well as try and keep everything clean so that we have the ability to move forward without ruining all of our resources, especially our rural lands, our farmlands, and basically citizens in this area with the lands that you have. I thank you for this at this time.
Thank you, Mr. English. Ms. Flasch. Harford County's next master plan will be up for review next term. What are your priorities for that process, and how will you ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in shaping it?
Harford County's next master land use plan is one of the most important pieces of legislation because it will shape our community's infrastructure and quality of life for the next decade. And yet, many residents don't realize how much these decisions will impact their everyday lives, which is why public involvement has to be a priority. This will actually be my third master land use plan that I participated in 2012 and 2016. And through those experiences, I have learned that even the smallest land use changes on a map can significantly change the future of our communities. We saw this decision in 2016 when along the Route 152 corridor and Route 23 in Falston and Forest Hill, these actually transitioned from undeveloped land into development. And I actually opposed that development envelope expansion because I understood the long-term impacts those decisions would have on our infrastructure and our community character. Just take a look at our traffic congestion right now. And that's why my top priority is to make sure that the development envelope reflects the true capacity of our roads, schools, and emergency services and our infrastructure, not simply development pressure. If we don't get land use right, we don't get anything right. But just as important as the plan itself is the public process behind it. The residents need to be involved early before decisions are already moving forward, so they have the opportunity to ask questions and understand how proposed changes will affect their communities. For more than 15 years, I've been involved in community outreach and land use issues through organizations to include the Planning Advisory Board, Friends of Harford, and the chair of the Falston Community Advisory Board. I put together workshops and community meetings and outreach efforts focused on keeping residents informed and engaged already. As your county council representative, I would use that experience to help residents understand how the process works, where they can participate, and how the changes that could impact their communities. This means not only supporting community meetings, but also working with community organizations and local networks to improve outreach and public awareness, to support better communication and focused on stronger public notice. Accessible information to residents is truly how we will get a meaningful voice in shaping Harford County's future with the Master Land Use Plan.
Thank you, Ms. Flasch. Ms. Imhoff. Harford County's next master plan will be up for review next term. What are your priorities for that process, and how will you ensure that residents have a meaningful voice in shaping it?
Well, number one, thank you so much for having us. In understanding that each district, zip code, and community and neighborhood will have different priorities and concerns, my goal is to continue the critical meetings with different groups, whether it's been for concerns over traffic, speeding, traffic lights, traffic stop signs, sound walls, community safety, or general peace of mind. Our neighborhoods who have been sitting on empty promises by the county for years, it is critical that we take part in getting to know each of the different neighborhoods to find out what they need, what their concerns are, and make sure that there's follow through on local government side. I recently was in communication with a neighborhood right in Falston who are very, very close to some of the apartments that were built many years ago. And during that process, they were actually promised through the county that they would actually get water and sewer. And they're still sitting today without that completed promise. And so I think before we explore expanding our development envelope or things like that, we need to go back and make sure that we've actually checked and balanced ourselves. If we've made promises to the community, we need to follow through on that. If we can't follow through on that, we need to explore if we are in the right place to actually expand anything or modify anything else. Community-wide, my focus is to maintain the agricultural integrity of District B. As someone whose farm literally holds the line of the development envelope, I understand the concerns and the development creep. It is not what I want it is not what I wanted for my family or our property investments. There is still a lot of unused and underused property that should be explored before making zoning expansions at the benefit of non-residents. Thank you.
Ms. Flasch, you're up first on this one, then Ms. Imhoff, then Mr. English. Ms. Flasch, what legislation would you pursue to protect our environment from projects like Ridgely's Reserve and proposed data centers while still allowing Harford County to grow?
What residents are seeing in Ridgely's Reserve and the proposed data centers is a serious concern because growth and zoning decisions are not always aligned with the real impacts that development places on the surrounding communities and the environment. For projects like Ridgely's Reserve, I would support reviewing zoning legislation involving tree clearing limits, natural resource district protections, stream and water quality protection, and better accountability with the violations, while working alongside organizations like Mad About Mud, Gunpowder Riverkeeper, community members, and county agencies. Residents should not have to spend years organizing petitions to protect their communities. An example of my commitment to those types of issues is when I was part of the coalition effort for Save Abingdon Woods and advocated to protect approximately 300-acre parcel from overdevelopment when residents raised concerns about impacts with forest, wetlands, stormwater runoff, and surrounding communities. After the property was placed into a county council-approved tax incentive program, environmental protections surrounding streams, forests, wetlands were effectively bypassed, allowing development on land that should have never have been targeted for the enterprise zone in the first place. That should never happen again. Environmental infrastructure and the quality of life are once again being raised with the proposed data centers. And that's why I support the emergency ban on the data centers, and I am currently fighting alongside with the residents to protect Harford County communities. I will continue on working with those issues, not only locally, but also on the state level where legislation is significantly impacting Harford County. Another issue that I've been firsthand working through with Friends of Harford is how zoning decisions are made that are disconnected from the real impacts of overdevelopment places on our roads, schools, infrastructure, and waterways. Harford County can continue to grow, but growth must fit with our infrastructure and character of our surrounding communities. Harford County needs proactive leadership with experience and understanding of past county decisions to better plan for what comes next. Growth must be responsibly planned before communities are forced to live with consequences for decades. And that is the type of leadership for our environmental protections that I will bring to the County Council.
Thank you, Ms. Flasch. Ms. Imhoff, what legislation would you pursue to protect our environment from projects like Ridgely's Reserve, from Ridgely's Reserve and proposed data centers while allowing Harford County to grow?
Moving forward, we need to have more insight and collaboration with geographical and environmental professionals who can delay, stop, or outright deny any project that does not adhere to the environmental needs of our sacred landscape. As someone who has built a house near our watershed, and as someone who has worked hand in hand with community inspectors through the process, I'm actually perplexed as to why some levels of oversight were not maintained through the building and post-building of Ridgely's Reserve. We need to maintain daily and seasonal inspections and expectations, requiring untouched forestation buffers for sediment control, and being able to put restrictions in place for brought-in soil, for required reforestation, and building limits that would in certain topographical points that are all local legislation that our local legislation needs to put through. As far as data centers, I have supported and collaborated with all local legislation that will prevent data centers in not just District B, but Harford County. However, what many people don't know is that I have been working with the Office of People's Counsel and Senator Jennings' office to create legislation to push back on states' insistence for data centers and solar farms. We can't risk arguing amongst ourselves and lose sight that the problem didn't start here and the solution can't end here. Thank you.
Mr. English, what legislation would you pursue to protect our environment from projects like Ridgely's Reserve and proposed data centers while still allowing Harford County to grow?
biggest problem with all this is the developers themselves seem to get out of control at times. And I noticed for a fact when the gunpowder was being built over here off Route 7, the developer at that time, I won't bring his name up, also went back to the county and tried to sell his entire septic system, everything he put in for his development to Harford County. At that time, I stepped up. There's a large article in the Aegis about it, that I pushed to get him out of that and get the county not to pay for any portion of it. The county did find out that 15 residents on that street were able to tie into the system. So they compromised and they actually bought the pumping station down there, and it worked for our benefit as far as citizens. We didn't have to pay for developers his out-of-pocket expense to try and make millions. And in doing so, we got to look at what is required. Right now, requirements for some of these big developments don't put a whole lot out there. Legislation should be put forward to require larger public spaces. And in those public spaces, we can put in small park areas. How about trails for walking, bicycling, getting our kids off the highways and streets so there's no more accidents? Force the developers to pay for infrastructure upgrades. When they put money out to put in infrastructure, they're not upgrading what's already there. We, the taxpayers, now have to put that money out of our pocket in order to sustain and support them. Well, I believe that we got to upgrade the mains, we got to upgrade our pumping systems, and we got to pay more money to have the sewer pumped elsewhere. That's coming out of our pocket for his benefit. The developer needs to put his money up front to pay for all that first. When it comes for the data centers, my visual thing was no. No, 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 especially in the rural areas. You're taking prime land and you're destroying it by cutting down trees, flattening it out, and putting monster warehouses that sit there and do nothing but make noise and consume energy. I had a recent opportunity while I was in Florida recently to talk to my brother who has a data center near his home, and we drove down by it. Oh my gosh, never. I don't want it anywhere near my home. We need to look at these. If we have to somehow afford to put them in place without restricting them 100%, then let's restrict them out of our rural areas and put them into the industrial areas in this county where they can occupy large super warehouses that exist. And how many of those are empty now for them?
Thank you, Mr. English. All right, question number 3, we'll start with Ms. Imhoff, then we'll go back to Mr. English, and then Ms. Flasch. Ms. Imhoff, the County Council has faced significant internal divisions and tension with the executive branch. How will you cut through that gridlock to actually deliver for your constituents?
I used to work for an agency that had one principle that was called make the covert overt, which means say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and keep it moving. That's very much what our constituents need at this time. I have a respectful working relationship with every single person on the executive, legislative, or judicial branch of our county. And that's intentional. It's not by lack of trying. It is being able to have conversations, being able to share common ground, being able to really understand that the reason why we keep coming into this work is to be able to serve the constituents. I believe in being adults who have to serve our constituents, number one. With that being said, we're not always going to agree on everything. I frequently make the joke that it's even hard to get the council to all agree on something. However, if you can have a courageous conversation with somebody, if you can have mutual respect, and you all have the shared reason for showing up every day, that's exactly all you need in order to be able to have those conversations and be able to find solutions.
Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. Mr. English. The County Council has faced significant internal divisions and tension with the executive branch. How will you cut through that gridlock to actually deliver for your constituents?
Let's put it simply. Communication, compromise, talks, public input. My ideas behind this are we have to understand that every position that's in this council and the administration is an elected position put there by you, the people. If we can't work together, there's a serious problem. We need to look at those and then turn around to figure out the best way to solve this. Communication, open forum. Sit down and talk about every aspect. Compromise within those items to make sure we provide the best for what our constituents put us in those offices for. Public input. Why don't we put those information out to the public? I'm going to be representative for District B. When you put me in that office, I'm going to be representing them, but I'm also going to be representing every person in Harford County, not just my district. My decisions affect everyone. So I have to look at it from that standpoint. Being in the Marine Corps, I had to learn to compromise and learn to do things. Yes, there were dictators out there in the Marines that tell you what to do, when to do, why to do, and how to do. But at the same time, you have the right to make personal decisions. If we can do that and work together in the council chambers and in the administrative offices, we'll be able to easily bring together ideas, bills, and compromise resolutions for our constituents. We need to all sit down and look at it, and if the public can put their input in, one of the things I plan to do when in this office is open my door wide open. I want emails, I want to be able to communicate to the public, I want to send emails out. One of the things I have here in my hand is actually a little report card. It started originally with J.B. Jennings, and now Lauren Erickson just sent one out. I enjoy reading these to know what our legislators do, what bills are available. At the same time, why can't we in the county council do the same thing? Get that information out to the people so that you have the right to tell me how to vote on it. That's the best way we can all work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. English. Ms. Flasch. The County Council has faced significant internal divisions and tension with the executive branch. How will you cut through that gridlock to actually deliver for your constituents?
Elected officials need to set the standard of working through disagreements professionally and communicate honestly and stay focused on solving our problems instead of creating more conflict. I'm someone who has built strong relationships throughout the community, and I understand the importance of communication and preparation in solving problems collaboratively. My 12 years of military service prepare me to work through difficult issues, bringing people of different backgrounds together and staying focused and accomplishing missions. Through both my military service and my 15 years of community leadership and experience, including working with the elected officials, I've learned that progress requires people to listen respectfully, work with disagreements professionally, and stay focused on our solutions. In the past, in working with elected officials, residents, and organizations with very different perspectives, I've learned that disagreement does not have to stop our progress. I've never been afraid to take a clear position and ask difficult questions when necessary, but I also believe disagreements should not become so divisive that nothing gets accomplished. A good example was during the discussions surrounding the proposed apartments in Fallston, when many residents felt frustrated and angry after feeling left unheard by the county council and the developer. Because of the trust and working relationship I had built through the community, I was actually to be part of a work group focused on the best outcome and the protections for our community. And believe me, this brought together some people with very different perspectives on the issue. I focused on presenting concerns involving traffic, infrastructure, zoning, and impacts that clearly impacted the neighborhoods and in a respectful and constructive way. While the original proposal faced significant community concerns, the discussion helped move the conversations toward development in areas where infrastructure could better support growth, showing how communication and community involvement can lead to responsible planning outcomes. I believe one of the best ways to reduce gridlock is to improve communications earlier in the process. Too often, residents feel left out until decisions affecting their communities are almost final. And that's where frustration grows and small disagreements turn into major fights.
Thank you, Ms. Flasch. For our last question, it's a statement that you all want to bring a topic of your own choice. We're going to start with Mr. English, then go with Ms. Flasch, then Ms. Imhoff. Mr. English, this is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
Good evening, and thank you again for this forum. It's an opportunity for all of us to come up and show what we're worth. I am retired. I'm 66 years old. I have been a U.S. Marine Corps for 4 years, and I've been a Harford County resident for almost 57 years. I came here when I was 9 years old with my father and my mother and my sister and brother. We love this county, and I have returned here multiple times. The only time I had to leave was for the Marine Corps, and I couldn't find an apartment, so I went across the border to Baltimore County, just literally over the cone edge there, and had an apartment for 1 year. Outside of that, everything I've done has been staying here in this county. Being retired, I have a strong advocate of what you people have in your pockets. That's fixed income. We're not getting a whole lot of raises lately. The retired people like myself, we're basically struggling to keep our finances where they are. We put in extra hours. Some people are working part-time jobs. We need to find other ways and solutions. That's one of the things I look at is saying that no new taxes if we can help it. Those taxes are going to hurt our people. We need to look at alternative tax incentives. We can look at other counties in the state, see what they've all put as for initiatives. We can look at other states and their counties to see what they've put out for initiatives for their people, as well as for the seniors and the young. We have young constituents in the audience that are going to grow and live in this county, hopefully, and stay here forever. I've been married for 37 years. I have 3 adult children, and all 3 of them have looked for, 2 have already bought property in this county to stay here. My goal is to protect them. My 3rd son, he's trying to get right now property and having a hard time finding one that both he and his fiancée can agree upon, first off, but the price is the second one. Another thing I want to look into is bills. All the bills that come forward for the council, a lot of them don't always come out and people don't know what they are. So why not get them out to the people, as I said earlier? We need to find a way to get emails out, put out letters if possible, so that they have an idea to know what's going on and what's coming up for their own address and their own county, so that they can contact us and we can make decisions for them. I'm being elected to make decisions for you, but I want your input to help me make better decisions across the board. Thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mr. English. Ms. Flasch, you're next. Ms. Flasch, this is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
Great. One issue I believe deserves far more attention is the loss of trust people have in local government, especially when it comes to development and land use issues. Over years, I've heard from residents across Harford County who feel frustrated watching major projects move forward while they're feeling that their voices are not being fully heard by their elected officials. Too many residents feel like important decisions affecting their communities are being made without even enough public involvement or communication. I've worked with neighbors, and I've spent countless hours helping people understand zoning changes, development proposals, and county processes that often feel confusing and overwhelming. Residents attend community meetings and raise concerns about traffic and infrastructure and the impacts to their neighborhoods. But many leave feeling unheard and being told that projects are already allowed because of zoning decisions made years earlier. That's unacceptable. The frustration is real, and I understand it because I've spent more than 15 years alongside residents and communities across District B and Harford County, not for political gain or a title, but because I genuinely care about protecting the quality of life and our community character in our homes. I believe that's why so many people trust me, and they've seen me do the work, ask the hard questions, and stand behind residents when they feel unheard or overlooked. I'm also proud to say that I do not accept developer contributions because residents deserve to know that their elected officials are putting the people and the communities first, and that's how it should be. I will work to improve communications and rebuild trust so residents feel like they truly have a voice in the future of their communities. Residents deserve to know what decisions are being considered, why they are being made, and how the decisions could affect their communities before it's too late. My military service taught me the importance of service and accountability, and I've carried these same qualities into my community leadership, and I'm ready to bring that leadership and experience to the County Council so District B families feel heard, involved, and able to trust that their voices matter when it comes to land use and development decisions that will shape your communities. I would be honored to earn your vote on June 23rd, and I will fight to protect, plan, and preserve. Please visit my website at Stephanie Flasch and follow me on Facebook, Flasch District B.
Thank you, Ms. Flasch. Ms. Imhoff. This is a topic of your choice. To maintain a respectful and constructive environment, this segment must focus exclusively on your own positions and may not be used to reference or critique other participants.
I am deeply connected to the community, whether it's the ag community, Harford County Public Schools community, public safety, nonprofit, Blue Star families, or business communities. When I got appointed to the council, I often received the why her question. So let me tell you a bit about my community work and why I was chosen to represent my home. I didn't just show up one day. My work ethic, consistency, micro, meso, and macro understanding of communities, needs and priorities, and general investment both prior to me being on the council and after, and for my kids and their kids, is why I stepped up when District B needed to move forward. I have a master's degree in social work, and I ended up staying a little bit longer in order to be able to focus not just on the individual community needs, but as the community as a whole needs. So I focused a lot on individual services, connecting people with resources, getting people the solutions that they were looking for, that were holding them up, but also understanding systems and how they work as a greater benefit to the community. I also have been on the chair for the Harford County Women's Commission, the chair of the ARC of Northern Chesapeake Standing Committee. I've been in the Harford Leadership Academy, the Cherish the Child Symposium chair, Military Civilian Coordinated Community Response Steering Committee, Harford County Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team chair, Maryland Domestic Violence Fatality Review State Implementation Team, Children's Programming Services co-chair, Harford County Police Advisory Board, and Family Life Citizens Advisory Committee for Harford County Public Schools. I've also been the Leading Women Chair, which focuses on young girls in the community who are showing tremendous leadership abilities. I'm now on the Harford County Public Library Board of Trustees and Harford County Humane Society Board of Directors. These responsibilities are not without intention. I am deeply committed to this community as a whole. District B raised me, and it's where I'm choosing to raise my girls. And for that, I hope to have your vote and your trust on June 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. That is the last of our County Council District B representatives and the last of our candidates tonight. But before we wrap up, first of all, thank you to the three of you for your participation. And before we wrap up, I know that we have some other candidates who are here tonight who were not invited to speak. I did say that if you came, you could stand up to say that you were here. So if you are running for something, but we're not on stage tonight, come on up and I'll just let you introduce yourself. Name and position only, please. And it is something, thank you for everybody who participated tonight. This is not an easy thing to do, to stand up here and to have to state your position and answer questions and things like that. So, give a lot of grace to these people. We'll start over here.
I'm Jeff Beck. I'm running, is that on? Yeah, okay. I'm Jeff Beck. I'm running for County Council in District A.
I'm Matthew Brown. I'm running for County Executive.
You need to come up here to get on camera. Sorry.
I'm Barbara Osborne Kramer. I'm a Democratic candidate for County Executive. I'll be here tomorrow night. Please come back.
Thank you. Yes, and that is one last thing. Tomorrow night at 5:45 in this room, we will have the Democratic Primary Forum. And then at 6 o'clock on Monday, June 8th, we will have a Board of Education Primary Forum. Stay tuned for the general election when we will try to do the same thing with hopefully candidates from tonight, candidates from tomorrow going against each other. With that in mind, have a safe trip getting home. Thank you for coming out tonight. We'll hope to see you tomorrow night. anybody is looking for the live stream, it's at joppadhc.org, our website. You can find that anywhere.